morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning Five here on Wednesday, October 12th, 2016. I am Dave Biddle, very happy to be joined by Alex Gleitman. Alex, my first question for you, sir. Are Buckeye fans and even the media overreacting about JT Barrett's performance against Indiana? Yes, he looked awful throwing the ball, but it was just one game. Are people overreacting, yes or no?
I think they're overreacting just a tad bit. I think that, everyone's entitled to a bad game. Everyone's entitled to be off. I actually think that, the best quarterbacks in the country have off days. I think Ohio State's play calling once they realized JT Barrett was having an off day, I think that made it look even worse because they weren't doing things that would, either help him in the passing game or just make it seem less like, they had to just run a QB run every single time, because he was having a bad passing day. So I don't think the coaches did him any favors. But I just think he had a bad day. And unless this becomes a trend, I think people need to relax a little bit. Let's see how he goes out against Wisconsin. I do think that JT Barrett, he is what he is. He's probably, whenever he decides to leave for the NFL after this year or after next year, he's probably not going to be anything more than probably his ceiling is probably like a fourth-round pick. His floor would obviously be, not being drafted, but I think he'll probably be somewhere between a fourth to seventh-round pick just because of what he's done at the college level and his leadership and all those things. But he's just not a great passer. He's a distributor of the football. He's got, I think, probably plus arm strength. We wouldn't call it strong arm strength. His accuracy has been inconsistent. So, I think the coaches need to do a better job of getting him in a rhythm off the bat against Wisconsin and see how things go from there. But I think people are overreacting, long story short.
Do you think the Buckeyes offense is best when they go up tempo? And I know they want to mix things up. They don't want to just go up tempo like they're Oregon for the entire game and, kill their defense if they have a few 3 and outs. They want to, mix it up, and I like that. But do you feel like Ohio State's offense is at its best when it goes up tempo?
I think Urban Meyer would tell you probably yes. I think they want to play fast. I think they want to catch the defense off guard and out of position, and they want to be able to be better conditioned than that team, line up, run it down their throats, and throw the ball all over the place. And sometimes when you play fast, I think your instincts take over a little bit more, and that could be when JT Barrett and the rest of the offense are at their best, when their instincts take over and they don't have to think as much. But at the same time, sometimes going fast, you rush, and you don't make the proper reads and things of that nature. So, I would like to see Ohio State play definitely faster than they played against Indiana. I know that they were doing a lot of milking the clock there and things of that nature, but I don't think they need to play as fast as Indiana played on Saturday. I thought Indiana played faster than even Oregon played in the national championship game. They were lining up lightning quick and just getting that ball off and trying to catch Ohio State off guard. And, it led to a couple successful plays, but I don't know if I want to see Ohio State play that fast. I think, they need to find a middle somewhere between where they played and, I think an Oregon type of speed.
Ohio State at Wisconsin this Saturday night, I should say. College game day will be there. Now, the spread opened at 9.5 points. Ohio State favored. It's moved to 10, so a little bit of the money is going toward Ohio State so far. What's your vibe when you look at this game? If you're a Buckeye fan, should you be feeling nervous? Are you feeling pretty good going into this one if you're a Buckeye fan?
Honestly, for those of you who read the site, I'm pretty conservative. Before the season, a lot of people pick, they're going to go to the playoffs, the championship, and I'm usually a little bit more cautious about that. I like to see before I believe, and I still haven't seen everything I need to out of this Ohio State team. I voiced concerns about the passing game prior to Indiana, and they kind of just proved me right there. But for me, I think this is a perfect Urban Meyer game. Coming off a lackluster performance, people are starting to kind of doubt Ohio State. Oh, are they as good as we thought they were? We're going to actually pick Michigan as the Big Ten's best team, and maybe Ohio State isn't as dominant as we kind of saw the first, 4 or 5 weeks of the season. So I think those two things, coming off a lackluster performance, people starting to doubt them, and then this game being on a national stage at night, 8 p.m. Eastern time on ABC, nationally broadcast. This is just an Urban Meyer game written all over it. And personally, I think Ohio State's going to go out there and they're going to stomp Wisconsin. I think, I haven't come up with my score prediction yet for a round table, but I have it something like 38-10, 42-14, something in that range. I think Ohio State's going to come out and they're going to really make a statement in this game. And I actually think the game against Penn State the following week at night is going to be, maybe the upset alert or the closer game for the Buckeyes. I think this week they're going to roll in Madison.
Perfect Urban Meyer game. I like that. That's very well said because he is at his best when anyone doubts him, or when he's an underdog. And I tell you what, Ohio State's really good when they're favored by 10 points at Wisconsin at night, and people are like, you know what, Ohio State's not getting a lot of respect here. But that's how it feels this week, coming off that Indiana win. People, as you said, are wondering, is Ohio State not as good as people thought? Perfect Urban Meyer game on the road. People doubting him, even though he's favored by 10. Look out, Badgers. Although, I've been there, even games I haven't, been there in Camp Randall. It's just so many tough games over the years. So I'm not ruling out the possibility this could be a close game in the fourth quarter. But I do think Ohio State's going to win and cover. So, but I like that perfect Urban Meyer game. Speaking of Urban Meyer, on the Big Ten teleconference yesterday, he was asked about kind of the perception of running back recruiting changing, under his watch. People used to kind of recruit against him saying, Urban Meyer's never produced a 1,000-yard running back. Did you know that, top running back recruit? He's never produced a 1,000-yard runner. Why would you want to go there? He's a quarterback-based offense. Well, then he comes to Ohio State. His first year, Carlos Hyde almost gets 1,000 yards. In 2012, gets 970, and he easily would have got 1,000 if he didn't miss 2 games due to injury, or if Ohio State would have played in the bowl game. Then the next year, Hyde gets over 1,500 yards, breaks that barrier for Meyer. And then Zeke, the last couple years, gets over 1,800 rushing yards, number 4 pick of the draft. Hyde also, second round pick, doing great things in the NFL. Zeke right now leading the NFL in rushing yards. Furthermore, Mike Weber's on pace for over 1,000 rushing yards. Curtis Samuel's on pace for, right around there. So running back recruiting has really changed, and Urban has no, problem kind of bragging about it, saying, yeah, we're right in the mix with every top running back in the country. But just from your perspective, you've covered this era. How have you seen running back recruiting change, kind of the perception during the Urban Meyer era?
Yeah, I think that those questions, Urban, I remember covering recruiting. I remember when Urban was first hired, people, the pitch was come to Ohio State and be Urban Meyer's first 1,000-yard back. And I think there was a little bit concerned. I think a lot of the kids who he was recruiting, the Ezekiel Elliott's, whatever, in his first year, I think the Urban Meyer teams they knew were the Tim Tebow teams at Florida. And you saw Tebow threw the ball a bunch. They did a lot of the things they're doing with Curtis Samuel, with Percy Harvin there. And Tebow ran the ball a ton. They had some good backs in Jeff Demps and Chris Rainey and Deshaun Wynn and guys like that. But those guys weren't workhorse backs. And I think there definitely was a concern. But those concerns were alleviated very quickly. Right off the bat, Urban Meyer went to the power run game using the running back in Carlos Hyde and then Ezekiel Elliott and now Mike Weber. So I think, as you said, the perception definitely did change. I don't think the concern was ever as dire as maybe the media or other coaches tried to make it out to be. But, I definitely have seen the perception change. And now, as you said, it's like, come to Ohio State, run the football, and you're going to be a high NFL draft pick after Carlos Hyde was a second-round pick of the San Francisco 49ers, and Ezekiel Elliott, as you said, went 4th overall to the Cowboys. So the blueprint's there, and I think, people are seeing that. I'm not saying it's a system thing. You still have to be good, but you come to Ohio State, they're going to develop you as a good running back, and they're going to put you in position to achieve all your goals at the college level and get to the next level.
Let's stay with recruiting and close the show here. You had some interesting information on Donovan Peoples-Jones that you posted to the site. Obviously the number 1 wide receiver in the country in the 2017 class, number 12 overall prospect out of Detroit Cass Tech. Tell the listeners about Donovan Peoples-Jones, Alex.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away. There's a VIP scoop on Donovan Peoples-Jones on the site. Definitely get on it and check that out if you haven't. If you're not a member, at least give us a free trial, 7-day free trial, or buy 1 month, get 2 free. That's a great deal that we're running right now. And check out what we have on Donovan Peoples-Jones. But the bottom line here is, to me, coming into the visit, I was not very bullish on Ohio State's chances. I thought he was going to Michigan. And, right before the visit, I had someone tell me that Donovan Peoples-Jones is actually starting to think more about going out of state and just getting away from home, and that Ohio State, Florida, and Florida State were perhaps in better position than Michigan, in their opinion, just from like the latest of Donovan and what he's been saying and what his family's been saying behind the scenes, and that he would have picked actually Florida. My source would have picked Florida as his pick for DPJ heading into the visit. Now, I know the visit went fantastic. His mom absolutely loves Urban Meyer. Had a great time. If he wants to go to Ohio State, she is sold 100%. I've heard things going around that both of his parents are Michigan alums. I have to check on that. I'm not sure, but they obviously live in Detroit. They go to Cass Tech. Even if they are, the bottom line is mom is sold on Ohio State. She is signing off, but it's Donovan's decision at the end of the day. And I think when push comes to shove, he's going to make a decision probably in the next couple months here. He's enrolling early, so no later than the Army Bowl. But he's now, after this visit that went fantastic, he's now planning on making another visit to Ohio State, an unofficial. It could be for the Michigan game. And he's also now, I'm told, Ohio State solidified themselves as a legitimate player for Donovan Peoples-Jones in the top three, probably with Michigan and Florida. Florida State may be looming. I know he's maybe visiting Michigan State this week. But the bottom line here, again, read the VIP scoop that we have on the site. But the bottom line is that Ohio State is definitely firmly in the mix for Donovan Peoples-Jones as we head toward the late innings here, and that's where you want to be. So I still have Michigan as my pick. I haven't made a crystal ball pick, but I have Michigan as my pick right now. I'm not going to change that until I have some firm information otherwise, but all my sources are kind of saying it's a crapshoot almost at this point, and that Ohio State is definitely a legitimate option to land the nation's number one receiver.
Great insights, as always, from Alex Gleitman. Thank you very much, Alex. Programming note, the local media will meet with head coach Urban Meyer tonight after practice around 6:30 p.m. Steve Helleg and I will be there covering that. And we're also going to get Tim Beck. They're bringing Tim Beck out for the first time since camp. So we'll get a chance to chat with quarterbacks coach Tim Beck. And a few players also will be out there. Malik Hooker, Curtis Samuel, Jalen Holmes, Jamarco Jones, and Draymond Jones are all on the schedule. So keep it locked to Bucknuts this evening for all of that. Thanks again to Alex Gleitman, and thanks to all the listeners for tuning into the show. I appreciate it. Hope everyone has a great day. Let's hear some Buckeye swag. Best damn band in the land.